We live in an age of unprecedented connection. Billions of us, sharing our lives online, leaving a digital trail wherever we go. But what if someone was watching? Not just the faceless corporations tracking your clicks, but a powerful government agency, listening to your calls, reading your emails, seeing your every move. This isn't science fiction. This is the reality of global surveillance, and today, on the Unknown Files, we expose the watchers. Our story begins in the shadows of the Cold War, with the birth of the National Security Agency, the NSA. Formed in 1952, this secretive organization was tasked with intercepting and analyzing the communications of America's adversaries. Their mission: to gather intelligence and protect the nation. But as technology advanced, the NSA's reach expanded far beyond its original mandate. The digital revolution transformed the world, and the NSA was at the forefront. They built massive data centers, capable of storing and processing unimaginable amounts of information. They developed sophisticated algorithms to sift through this data, looking for patterns, keywords, and connections. They tapped into the fiber optic cables that carry our internet traffic, collecting billions of communications every day. But who were they watching? Initially, the focus was on foreign powers, terrorists, and criminals. But as the NSA's capabilities grew, so did the scope of their surveillance. They began collecting data on ordinary citizens, both at home and abroad. They monitored phone calls, emails, social media posts, and even web browsing history. Leaks from whistleblowers, most notably Edward Snowden in 2013, revealed the full extent of these programs. PRISM, XKeyscore, and Boundless Informant. These were just a few of the secret tools the NSA used to vacuum up global communications. The revelations shocked the world. Governments scrambled to respond, citizens questioned their privacy, and the debate over security versus freedom erupted like never before. But perhaps the most unsettling question remains: has anything really changed? While some surveillance programs were reformed or shut down in response to public outrage, new methods have emerged, often in even more sophisticated and harder-to-detect forms. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, and quantum computing promise to take surveillance to levels once thought impossible. The watchers are still watching, only now they are faster, smarter, and more integrated into our daily lives than ever before. The leaked documents exposed programs like PRISM, which allowed the NSA to directly tap into the servers of major technology companies, harvesting user data without their consent. Other programs, such as XKeyscore, gave analysts the power to monitor individuals in real time, accessing their emails, browsing history, and even private messages. The scale of surveillance was staggering, far beyond what the public had ever imagined. Governments around the world were implicated, with revelations that the NSA had spied not only on suspected terrorists but also on allies, world leaders, and even ordinary citizens. Reports surfaced that the phones of European leaders, including German Chancellor Angela Merkel, had been tapped for years. The global outrage was immediate, with diplomatic tensions rising and calls for greater oversight of intelligence agencies. In response to the backlash, the US government scrambled to justify its actions, claiming that these programs had thwarted terrorist plots. But critics argued that such surveillance had crossed ethical and legal boundaries, turning the intelligence community into an unchecked force with limitless access to personal data. Lawsuits were filed, civil rights groups mobilized, and tech companies sought to distance themselves from government overreach by introducing stronger encryption measures. Yet, despite the outrage and the promises of reform, many of these surveillance programs persisted. Intelligence agencies adapted, developing even more sophisticated methods to collect and analyze data. Artificial intelligence and machine learning now enhance their capabilities, allowing for real-time tracking, voice recognition, and predictive analytics on a scale once thought impossible. The Snowden leaks marked a turning point in the digital age, a moment when the world glimpsed the true extent of government surveillance. But as technology advances and data becomes even more valuable, one question remains: have we already lost the battle for privacy? In the wake of the Snowden revelations, global trust in the United States was severely damaged. Longtime allies, including Germany and Brazil, condemned the NSA's actions, demanding explanations and even launching their own investigations into US surveillance activities. In response, some nations moved to tighten their data security laws, seeking to shield their citizens from foreign spying. The European Union, for example, accelerated discussions on the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, aiming to give individuals more control over their personal data. Meanwhile, inside the United States, the debate raged on. While government officials insisted that the NSA's programs were essential in preventing terrorist attacks, civil liberties groups pushed back, arguing that there was little concrete evidence proving mass surveillance had actually thwarted any major threats. The leaks also reignited discussions about the role of private tech companies in government surveillance. Many firms initially denied cooperating with intelligence agencies, but subsequent documents suggested that some had complied, whether willingly or under legal pressure. As the controversy grew, some changes were made. The USA Freedom Act of 2015 placed certain restrictions on bulk data collection, and public awareness of digital privacy reached new heights. Encrypted messaging apps like Signal and Telegram saw a surge in users, while major tech companies began implementing stronger encryption to protect user data from government intrusion. However, critics argued that these measures were too little, too late. The NSA, along with other intelligence agencies, had already adapted, shifting to new methods of surveillance that remained hidden from public scrutiny. Even as governments debated the ethical and legal implications of mass surveillance, whistleblowers and investigative journalists warned that the true extent of these programs might still be hidden. Some experts suggested that while Snowden's leaks exposed key operations, they were only the tip of the iceberg. Could there be even more advanced surveillance systems, operating in total secrecy, beyond the reach of public scrutiny? Declassified documents have hinted at projects exploring artificial intelligence-driven surveillance, predictive behavior modeling, and even biometric tracking on a global scale. In the end, the revelations of mass surveillance left the world with an unsettling realization. Privacy, as we once knew it, may no longer exist. Every search query, every phone call, every online purchase contributes to an ever-expanding digital profile, one that governments and corporations alike can exploit. While some continue to fight for stronger privacy protections, others have accepted surveillance as an unavoidable consequence of the modern world. The question remains, are we willing to sacrifice our freedom for the illusion of security? Or is it already too late to turn back? Snowden's revelations raised fundamental questions about the balance between security and freedom. In a world where technology makes it possible to collect and analyze vast amounts of personal data, how do we protect our privacy? How do we ensure that our governments are not abusing their power? The NSA's global surveillance network is a stark reminder of the challenges we face in the digital age. It's a reminder that we must be vigilant in defending our rights, that we must hold our governments accountable, and that we must never take our privacy for granted. But what if this is only the beginning? As technology evolves, so do the methods of surveillance. Governments and corporations are now experimenting with predictive analytics, artificial intelligence, and biometric tracking. What was once considered science fiction, tracking people's emotions through facial expressions, monitoring their habits through smart devices, and even predicting crimes before they happen, is quickly becoming reality. The digital footprint we leave behind is more revealing than ever, and the question remains, who truly controls this information? Some nations have pushed back, enacting stronger data protection laws, while others have embraced mass surveillance as a tool of control. Activists and investigative journalists continue to expose new programs, but with each revelation, the methods of surveillance become more advanced and harder to detect. The fight for privacy is no longer just about government oversight. It's about the very nature of freedom in a hyper-connected world. The unknown isn't just out there. It's all around us. Thank you for watching The Unknown Files. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and remember, sometimes the most unbelievable stories turn out to be true.